This is your Barbados Today morning news update for Tuesday, September the 18th. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news at this hour, the organization representing private cane producers here is looking for an urgent meeting with the Mia Motley-led administration to try to broker a new cane price contract dating back to 2016. Chairman of the Barbados Sugar Industry Limited, Mark Seeley, told Barbados Today, while cane farmers have received all the money for the 2017 crop, there are still outstanding payments to be made for cane delivered to the Lone Factory at Port Vale, St. James for this year's crop.
The first stage, ECRIS would be around $3.5 to $4 million. I know that the government had approved a $5 million amount to help with the payment of that. But, of course, there are other, bear in mind, we are still in negotiations on the 2016 cane price, and we have delivered all the canes for 2018. So we have to get a meeting to discuss that.
Turning his attention to the 2019 sugar crop, Seeley cautioned that it's going to be a challenging one.
Well, next year could be challenging. I mean, we're getting some rains now, but remember, we started the crop late, and therefore it would have finished quite late, all the way down July 15th. And when you finish a crop late like that, then what happens is, of course, your growing time is reduced significantly. So it is unlikely that we would want to push for a start of crop much before March next year. Of course, this year it would have started in April. I think it was the 12th of April. And we can go back as much as a month. Hopefully that will reduce the effect a bit. But if you were to start in February, then you would have 2 months less growing time, and you wouldn't want that because the canes would not be ready at that time.
In other news now, the Barbados government seems set to push ahead with the introduction of fingerprint scanners at this country's ports of entry. However, Minister of Home Affairs Edmund Hinkson assures that Barbadians and permanent residents will be exempted.
I know at the back of your minds, and before you ask me, I will answer the question on the issue of the fingerprinting, which I, of course, am very aware of since I was the lead attorney at law for now Ambassador David Commission when he brought that case against the then government of Barbados on the issue of the constitutionality of fingerprinting Barbadian citizens and permanent residents at the airport within this context on arrival or departure. And again, I am not now, because I am in a different capacity as minister, going to give a contradictory response. It is unconstitutional for Barbadians to be so fingerprinted, but that does not mean that people who are not Barbadians may not be fingerprinted.
Hinkson also disclosed that the pilot project of the facial identification kiosks to fast-track arriving passengers through the immigration at the airport will soon be made mandatory by law.
As I understand it, once you go through the kiosk, you will be fast-tracked to the immigration officer, and therefore won't have to wait in the line for to stand behind for others. We are working on bringing the legislation to Parliament. The Cabinet of Barbados agreed in principle to the pilot project. There is a model CARICOM legislation which would include kiosks and certainly advanced passenger information.
Nurses in Barbados have been advised to build strong bonds among themselves to help stave off potential assault or physical abuse. The recommendation came last evening from consultant psychiatrist Dr. Joy Sue during a nursing forum on abuse against nurses and patients. Dr. Sue also provided tips to cope with burnout by the healthcare providers.
Take a nice walk. Observe your scenery. Key into what's going on around you. It actually does help to relieve your mind. Now strengthen your team. Nursing is a job that you cannot do unless you have a strong team approach. You're very dependent on your colleagues. If you're in a situation where you are at risk of being assaulted, you want to know that you have colleagues that are going to support you and help protect you and get that person off you. Without that support, exactly, anything could happen. So you need to strengthen the bonds that you have with your colleagues, and I think that will go a long way to relieving burnout as well.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
BIT's Central Bank Meets Blockchain Conference is the only conference in the world that brings together regulators, governments, and private entities to discuss how they might work together using blockchain to make a positive impact on the lives of the people in the Caribbean.
We are so proud to host this forum, which allows for constructive dialogue and engagement because it recognizes the transformative potential of distributed ledger technology and the work that BIT is doing in the region.
Blockchain technology has the power to address the demand for easier and real-time KYC solutions while improving overall KYC standards. With the advent of digital currency, these AML solutions can strengthen compliance like never before.
We have an excellent lineup of speakers, including our keynote speaker, the Honorable Mia Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Alden McLaughlin, Premier of the Cayman Islands, Dr. Jack Meaning, economist from the Bank of England, Therese Turner-Jones, the General Manager for the Caribbean Division of the IDB, and many more noteworthy speakers who you don't want to miss.
The Inter-American Development Bank supports this event and is our platinum sponsor. We're so grateful to them for their support and acknowledgement of our work.
We hope you can join us on September the 18th, 2018 at the Hilton Barbados Resort to hear what leaders in the region and in the blockchain space have to say about the role of blockchain technology in promoting social inclusion, financial empowerment and economic growth for this and future generations. See you there.
We're back with news from the region now. Crooked cops have no business in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. That's essentially the message Commissioner Gary Griffiths has sent loud and clear. The Commissioner made his sentiments known at a breakfast meeting of the Chaguanas Chamber of Industry and Commerce.
Commissioner Griffith said he is here to do things differently. Instead of speaking on crime statistics, he urged the national community to not ridicule the entire police service because of a few, promising that he himself will ensure that rogue officers are swiftly dealt with so that the image of the TTPS is not tarnished.
If you have committed an act that has affected the image of the police service, I can deal with it immediately as a Commissioner of Police. So for example, just say if 2 police officers have been held for kidnapping, I am not going to have them suspended on 3/4 pay until they go to court. They will be fired immediately. And that's what I intend to do.
The Commissioner said he is prepared to lose support to see the TTPS gain. One member of the audience who said she was asking on behalf of the 99% wanted to know whether the same efforts expended in rescuing Nicole Pauline can be expected for other kidnapped victims.
We on this table know nothing about a 1% or a 99%. 100% of the citizens of the Trinidad and Tobago, of the population, we are here to serve them. It is irrelevant of the geographical location, ethnic composition, wealth. That is irrelevant. If on my tour of duty, I can assure you, anyone who is kidnapped, the same effort, the same bags under my eyes that you see now, the same throat infection I have, I'm going to do the same thing to ensure that each and every person can be brought back to their loved ones.
The Commissioner also addressed concerns about technology being used in detection and monitoring of crime. He said the same can be used to ensure that proper checks and balances are adhered to within the police service.
And on the international scene, the Republican leader of the Senate Judiciary Committee said he would convene remarkable new public hearings in a week's time after sexual assault allegations emerged against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Both Kavanaugh and the woman who has accused him of physical and sexual assault, Christine Blasey Ford, will testify before the panel, setting up a blockbuster event that could decide Kavanaugh's fate.
The nomination of Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court in turmoil Monday. Christine Ford, the woman who has accused Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct, indicating she is willing to testify in public. That coming from her lawyer in multiple interviews Monday.
She clearly considers this an attempted rape. She believes that if it were not for the severe intoxication, of Brett Kavanaugh, she would have been raped.
Kavanaugh did not mince words on Monday, issuing a statement that I have never done anything like what the accuser describes to her or to anyone. Because this never happened, I had no idea who was making this accusation until she identified herself yesterday. The public accusation of sexual misconduct against Kavanaugh is forcing Senate Republicans to scramble ahead of a planned committee vote this week.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Now, you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.